Good morning. Today, the Louisiana Committee on Parole is called to order. We're paneled here in Baton Rouge at headquarters. My name is Jerry Ledoux. I'm going to serve as chairman today. On the panel today in Baton Rouge, to my left is Carolyn Stapleton. To my right, Pete Freeman. One of the staff here in Baton Rouge, introduce yourself.
Warden Juge at West Baton Rouge Detention Center.
Great, thank you so much. So we are at West Baton Rouge Detention Center, and we are here for a revocation hearing for under Justin Voisin. Am I saying your name?
Voisin, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll just stick with Justin. Sir, today we're going to review some revocation violations, and I'm going to have you plead guilty or not guilty with statements, and then we're going to ask you some questions. But before we do that, I want to assure that we're going through this properly. Do you have in front of you a parole revocation questionnaire that has your signature on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that questionnaire shows us that you are not eligible for appointed counsel. Do you have retained counsel?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to read some parole violations, and you're going to plead guilty, not guilty, and you can have a statement with each of those. But the statement, if you want to have a statement, you'll need to do that while we're questioning you. So at this time, I will read out. You've been charged with violating parole condition number 2, which states that you failed to report to the Probation and Parole Office on January 5th, 2024 as ordered to do so. How do you plead?
Guilty. I didn't show up. That's correct.
Okay. Number 4, on or about 12/31/2023, you threatened bodily harm against Christian Adik, according to offense report prepared by the Iberville Parish Sheriff on 12/31. How do you plead to that?
Not guilty. She's actually supposed to be on here.
Okay.
Not guilty. I'm sorry.
Not guilty. Thank you. Okay. Number 7, you lied about not being home on 1/5/2024 as the reason for failing to report to the office that day, but your father advised that you left the residence upon being told that you needed to report. How do you plead?
Guilty with the statement.
Okay. And number 10, you failed to make any payments, and you were $189 in arrears.
Guilty.
Okay. So Mr. Voisin, I'm going to be taking the lead on the questioning. You said you had a statement for number 7. Why don't you go ahead? Number 7 was that you failed to report and lied about it.
I was already gone when my dad got the call. My dad did call me, but I mean I was too far away to go. He's trying to say that my father told him that wasn't the case, which I don't. But regardless of the fact, I failed to show up. So I mean I'm guilty of that. I failed to report that Friday. But I asked Mr. Bezet in my hearing, it's like, when have I not showed up? Every time you ask me to come in, he's like, I've never not showed up, you know. But I mean, yes, I did not report that Friday. I called him and left him a voicemail. He didn't call me back. He called my father back that Tuesday for me to report that Wednesday. I reported that Wednesday. He gave me a drug test. He wanted to look through my phone. I gave him, well, he went out and told my dad that he wanted my phone, that I wanted my phone. So my dad went and got my phone. We looked through it. He wanted to look through it. I allowed him to look through it. He kept asking me who these certain people were. And I was like, he's looking for Kristen Adair. I was like, she's on the ass munch. So he's like, okay, stand up. He put me in another room. He went to the back with my phone and his computer, and he come back 5 to 7 minutes later and said, unlock your phone. And I said, no, sir, if I can't look at what you're doing with my phone, I'm not unlocking it again. He had then told me to stand up and put my hands behind my back. I'm being non-compliant.
So you are on probation, parole. And you are to submit to warrantless searches during that time.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm asking you to look at your phone and you saying no.
No, I allowed him to look through it, you know, as long as, I mean, I didn't know, of course, ignorance is not an excuse. I didn't know that he could look through it without me around, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know that. I allowed him to look through it, but when he unplugged the computer and went to the back of my phone and came back and asked me to unlock it again, I told him, no, sir, you know?
Let me read. I agree to visit at my residence, place of employment by my parole officer at any time. I also agree to searches of my person, property, residence, vehicle, when reasonable suspicion exists that I have engaged in criminal activity, and you signed that.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
you have to submit.
Yes, ma'am.
He put that as a violation, but okay, so that's enough of that. How about if we go to number 4, where you pled not guilty to, I don't know how to use this, terrorizing, Christian Adair, harassing, whatever you.
She's actually waiting on, so I couldn't give her a time to log. She's actually trying to log in. I don't know what time, they didn't give me a time, but she's willing to log in and said, I did not threaten her. She doesn't feel threatened. None of that. That the restraining order is not in effect. She did file one, but it got thrown out. We never went to court on it. It's like, and he's trying to say that, you know, I involved in criminal activity like that. And that's, I mean, it's not the case.
Well, she's changing her story according to all of the information that we have in this report.
Yes, ma'am.
She's doing a 180-degree turn on saying that wish that she would not breathe and you would not mind going back to prison.
Yes, ma'am. You can call her. You can call her. I mean, she's supposed to log in. I was never given a time for, you know, to tell her. I mean, I even wrote the eggs. All my paperwork just says this May 2nd, but it doesn't give a time on it for her to log in. I gave her my ID number and everything. She's supposed to, you know, she just didn't know the time.
Yeah, and we have staff here that are willing, are willing to assist in that.
He tried to force it. He tried to entice her to press charges on me 3 different times because he said he was going to obtain a search warrant to get him to my phone. And there was a judge wouldn't uphold it because nothing criminal took place. So the judge was like, I can't issue the warrant.
But we have warrantless searches for anybody who is under supervision. I'm
Yes,
not going to up the law to you. You signed those.
Yes, ma'am. I'm not debating that. I'm not debating that.
Mr. Poisson, for the record, I'd like to note that you are a 4th felony offender, that you have you were paroled in September, and we have the advantage of having your criminal history. Criminal history can play a part in a revocation hearing because it lends credibility to whether we find you guilty of the charges that were brought against you. Sir, I've reviewed your criminal history in terms of crimes against persons, both felony, misdemeanor, and those, and they're over 14. And so I tend to think that on number 4, that you, based on that preponderance of evidence, that I would see that you would be guilty of. Could I ask if my colleagues would have some questions, Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Mr. Voisin. How many times you been on supervision?
Parole or probation? I've been on probation twice, and this is my 2nd time being on parole, I think. I mean, yeah, I have a criminal history that goes back to 1999 when I was 17 when I first got arrested, you know, but I mean.
I'm not getting to that. What I'm asking is, so you know the rules of probation and parole. You've been over them several times.
Yes, sir.
And you did not want him to search the phone. Matter of fact, as he was walking out, I was leaving and he told me, F you and go to hell.
I can't win, but again, I did not let him refuse to search my phone. I allowed him to search my phone. In my,
And
I
You
didn't,
accuse him of using your phone to look at porn?
sir,
Did you accuse Agent Bezet of looking at porn on your phone?
no, sir, no, sir,
You make that comment,
no, sir, no, sir.
okay? And
You serious?
how many times have you been arrested for domestic violence with this girl?
For domestic violence,
Put anything, disturbing the peace, domestic violence.
once, maybe twice,
How many times has she recanted her story? Once,
3
maybe
times.
twice?
2 or 3 times, yes, sir.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Ms. Stapleton, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. You have an exceptionally long history of domestic abuse, battery with child endangerment that goes back many years. You also have a history of violation of protective orders. For a victim to file a protective order, a lot of times in their life and history, it teaches that victims who file for protective order or try to leave their assailant. At that point, they're in the most danger of being killed. And with your history of domestic abuse battery and the threat that you made to her, that you just see her not breathe, even if you have to go back to jail. And then, like you just admitted, she's recanted 2 other times before.
Because,
As far as I'm concerned, you're a threat to all the women that you're with.
So, I'm gonna take the lead in voting today. My vote is to,
Make a statement.
you can make a statement.
Poison, and if you have any witnesses, did she show up?
Did she call in? No.
I mean, she didn't, she was never notified of time. And
Okay.
that the fact that the only reason why she files the restraining orders is to give her temporary full custody of our daughter. Those paperworks are the only ones. We look like idiots when we go to the courthouse to try to get the restraining orders modified or dropped because we couldn't be around each other. The violations of 2021 of violation of restraining order, she called the jail for me to call home to talk to our daughter on September 14th, and I did. We was good for 2 weeks. When she got mad at me again, she called the jail and they arrested me again for violation of protective order. For every time I called home, they charged me with 6 counts of violation of protective order. Judge Ngolio was like, Mr. VOISIN, do not let anybody else get you in trouble. I'm the only person that says you can talk to your daughter right now. It's not that I go after her or, threaten her or none of that. It's always been a phone call that she initiates first. The DA told me that she can come to my house and run her head through the wall and I'm in violation. It's like a lose-lose situation. That's why I'm saying she was willing to give y'all a statement, and I can't help it that she didn't log in, but I've talked to her on the phone. She's not forced to. She's doing this on her own. She knows she messed up. You know what I'm saying? She knows she messed up. She didn't know how serious this was. She even told BZ to give me a drug test. She thought I was on drugs. I passed my drug test. I mean, I wasn't doing anything wrong. We had an agreement, what I'm saying? Yes, I was wrong. I told her I prayed, that she would stop breathing. I really did. I didn't say I was going to stop her from breathing, and she knows that. She's willing to say that, I didn't threaten to her to stop breathing, that I really, and I'm wrong for asking her, to pray to stop breathing. I really am wrong. That's between me and God. She accepted that. I mean,
Thank you for that statement. That really,
I told her I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I mean, it's not that I said I was going to go out and kill her or choke her or none of that, man. It's, my daughter wants me home. She wants me home. And it's just.
I appreciate that statement. Warden, do you have some input?
No, ma'am. I mean, he was put in jail on a parole hold. Got into one fight in the dorm, but that's been the only issue since he's been incarcerated here.
Thank you for that input. So, Justin,
I'm asking y'all, can y'all call her? She's being called a victim, and I'm asking for her to be, for her to speak on my behalf. You know, she's willing to speak, you know, she's willing to say to y'all that she doesn't feel threatened. I'm not a threat, that that's not the way it really happened.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session.
Second.
Second, third, agree.
Steve Freeman,
Yes.
Sarah Thankful,
Yeah.
Aaron, yes.
He was trying to coerce her to file charges on me.
We're gonna go into an executive session
What do you
for
want?
confidential information.
Big time.
Thank you for being patient, Justin.
Mhm.
No one has attempted to contact the Department of Correction. In the bottom of the letter to the offender, it has the information to provide. So we are going to go ahead and proceed with the vote today. You pled guilty to 3, not guilty to 1 violation based on the information we have. My vote today would to find you guilty of that and to revoke your parole. Mr. Freeman?
Okay, due to your past criminal history between you and the subject, my vote is also vote to revoke your parole.
And Ms. Stapleton?
My vote is to revoke your parole based upon your threats to your victim and your violations.
So today, Mr. Voisin, your probation parole has been revoked. Parole has been revoked. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
That's it.
We're going to conclude the hearing there in West Baton Rouge. And the time is now 9:25. Thank you.
Well, they lying.
Good morning.
Morning.
The Parole Committee is impaneled here in Baton Rouge at headquarters. Today is May 2nd. And on the panel today, I'll be chairing. My name is Jerry Ledoux. To my left is Carolyn Stapleton. To my right is Pete Freeman. It's 9:34 and we have support staff here at headquarters. Could you identify yourself?
Parole Lynn.
We are at Caldwell Detention Center. Can we identify any staff members who are there?
Kylie Hendricks, DOC Transition Specialist.
Thank you very much. Sir, would you state your name and your DOC number for the record?
Andrew DRUMWRIGHT, DOC number 709-203.
Mr. Drumwright, I'm going to read some information into the record and then we'll be asking you some questions. I do see that I want to acknowledge that your father, Jim Drumwright, is on Zoom today in support, and we will allow him to speak at the appropriate time. First of all, I find that you are a second-class offender currently serving a 10-year sentence for molestation of a juvenile. You have a parole eligibility date, December 22nd, 2022. Good time date, 9/9/2026, and a full term date of 4/23/2027. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I'm going to be taking the lead on asking some questions. So in reviewing this incident, you were initially placed on probation. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And they found you in Colorado. Help me understand what happened from the time you went on probation till you absconded to Colorado.
Yes, ma'am. When I was first released, I was in Louisiana in West Monroe. I was awaiting for my probation to be transferred to Texas. And when that was completed, I moved to Texas. And because of some poor decisions on my part, I was struggling with holding a job and moving forward. And then I started getting some warnings from my probation officer, and I made some poor decisions and decided to abscond to Colorado, and was trying to just live there without taking any responsibility for my probation.
What did you learn from that experience?
I learned that I was making some very poor decisions and that I was handling it in a very immature and irresponsible way. And ultimately it would only lead to, my life going downhill and ending up incarcerated and not learning from my mistakes.
Run, but you can't hide. So, who were you staying with in Texas? What was your support system there?
I was staying in a motel. My father was providing financial support while I was trying to obtain and hold a job to support myself.
And so they extradited you back to Louisiana, and you have been incarcerated how long now?
Almost 6 years.
Okay. During your time in, you have taken a few classes, haven't you?
Yes, ma'am.
So those classes, did you complete your sex offender treatment? I see that you took some of that. Which ones have you taken and completed?
I've taken cognitive behavior intervention for employment, anger management, and risk management. I have not taken the sex offender treatment yet. In fact, it was my hope that I could be recommended to that program so that on completion of that program, I could receive my parole, because I believe that program would be a huge help to help me get back on the right track.
Okay. And At Caldwell, they don't offer that. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my colleague at this time. Do either of you want to have a statement or ask a question? Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Mr. Mr. Andrew, do you take responsibility for your actions?
Yes, sir. I am completely responsible for my actions. I made some very poor decisions.
Okay. Your whether she was your stepsister,
My adopted sister, sir.
your adopted sister. Okay, I know she's passed away now. But what would you say today if you could talk to her? What would you tell her?
I would tell her that I'm terribly sorry for what I did and how it affected her life and made things difficult for her, emotionally and mentally. And I wish I could take it back, but I can't.
I have no further questions.
Stapleton, do you have any questions?
Mr. Drumwright, I think, like you said yourself, that the sex offender classes are something that you need to complete. And, I'm glad that you mentioned it, and so I agree completely with what you just said.
At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Drumwright, your father, to provide some comments to the board in support. So if you'll please state your name and your relationship, Mr. Drumwright, we'll go to you now. Are you on mute?
Yeah, sorry, I had to hit a button.
Okay.
Yeah, my name's Jim Drumwright. I'm Andrew's father. And I support whatever next appropriate moves the board believes. I believe Andrew's he has shared his remorse with me over not just this, but everything involved in the circumstances and what's gone on over the years prior, between his skipping out on his parole and coming back, and then also the events that led to the original sentencing. So I believe he's ready for the next step.
Where would he live if he gets out? Is he gonna be in a motel? Is he gonna be with you? Where is he gonna be?
I've made arrangements with an organization that's in Monroe, Louisiana, to serve out the remainder of his whatever the parole period is. I think it'd be 2 or 3 years, and they would provide housing, assisting with employment. They work with former offenders. I think it's listed in his paperwork. I believe we provided the name and address.
Free and due.
I have no further questions.
Thank you, sir, for making those comments. Appreciate it. I did not even bring up the issue that happened at Walmart. I just need to ask you, during that time, were you having some difficulty with mental health?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And have you had a mental health evaluation?
Since being incarcerated, no.
Okay. So there are 2 pieces here that we're seeing that may need to be filled in, right? So why don't you give your statement to the board and tell us what you think at this time?
I believe that in addition to receiving that program, I also could benefit from, I believe the place where I would be going has counseling as well. And my long-term goal when I get out is to pursue managing my depression and anxiety with medication, and also I would like to thank y'all for taking the time to hear my case. I do appreciate it. And my long-term goal is during my time on parole to save up some money to get my own place. And I want to complete the entirety of my parole in Louisiana. And then I plan to save up enough money and get a plan to move to Washington State where my brother and mother are living and return to college.
I'd like to ask the warden, I can't see you, so I don't know if you can hear me.
Transition specialist.
I mean, excuse me, the transition specialist. If we want to send him to another facility to get his sex offender treatment, would you be able to facilitate that, or are you going to have difficulty doing that?
I believe it would be easier if that was something that y'all added in the recommendation, then it would be an automatic process, for him to be transferred at the next availability to BAYOU DORCHEAT.
Okay, so are you saying that without it being ordered, that you could not do it?
Without it being ordered, he will not be able to go to that program until his last year and a half or so. That's typically when they have to do it, at least within their last year.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
I would like to go into an executive session for a moment to talk about some confidential information. If the board is acceptable to that.
I second. Yes.
Yes. Yes, we'll be right back. Sorry. Oh, it's 9:47 and we're returning from executive session. Mr. Drumwright, I really have appreciated you owning responsibility for your actions, for identifying some of the needs that you have. We do have some law enforcement opposition to your release. We do have in our record your risk assessment score is still moderate, and I believe that's because you need some more treatment. Sir, at this time, I am going to deny your request for parole, but strongly recommend that you are moved to a DOC facility that has sex offender treatment and mental health evaluation. Don't want that to discourage you. I think you've got a good long-range plan, but I think that's what the next step should be. Okay,
Thank you.
Mr. Freeman.
I concur 100%. pay attention to your second set of classes, reapply when everything is done. And we'll see where you are at that point in your life.
And Ms. Stapleton.
I concur with my colleagues, everything they said.
All right, Mr. Drumwright, you've got, something to look forward to then. You've got some, hopefully a transfer and some treatment, okay? Thank you very much. Your parole has been denied. Okay, so it's 9:49, and that is our last hearing at Caldwell, so we're going to adjourn there. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
The Louisiana Committee on Parole is impaneled at headquarters today in Baton Rouge. On the panel serving, my name is Jerry Ledoux. I'll chair today. To my left is Carolyn Stapleton, and to my right is Pete Freeman. We have some support staff here. And it's 9:55. Our remote site is, I say, BAYOU DORCHEAT. Is that going to be okay with you guys?
Yes, ma'am.
And who do we have in support there?
Yeah, Major Culpepper with Parish.
And I'm Jason Johnson. I'm program manager with the Steve Oil program. Sorry.
Sergeant Perryman, I'm in administration.
Great. Thank you so much for being there today. Sir, I'm going to ask you for your name and your DSC number, please.
Brian Ford, 495001.
Yes, so that's what I have. Mr. Ford, I'm going to read some information from the file, and then you're going to confirm that information. We're going to do some interview of you. We're going to allow the staff there if they'd like to make a statement. We also have on Zoom your sister, Jasmine Ford, and she will be able to make a statement, and then we'll allow you to close out, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sir, I find that you are a fourth felony offender currently serving a 7-year sentence for simple robbery. You have a parole eligibility date of 11/7/2023. You have a good time date. Well, you're not eligible for good time. Let's see. Sure, I can. That's correct. And you have a full term date of 8/7/2025. Does that sound correct according to your understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Freeman to begin some questioning. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Ford, how old are you?
41.
41, okay, and as she said, you have a full term date of 8/7/25, so no matter what happens today, you will be getting out on that date. How long have you served on these 7 years? Actual incarceration?
6 years.
Okay. All right, all right, now I'm gonna ask you, this is the most important question I'm gonna ask you, okay?
Yes, sir.
Tell me what went down that day. That arrest report is very confusing. You know, goes from walking a dog to getting a cup of water to all kind of stuff. You tell me in your own words what happened.
Well, this is exactly what happened that day. Well, I woke up that morning and I was in my addiction at the time with opioids. And so I got some Percocet, oxycodones, and I ate those. And I ran out and we needed more. The guy that I was with, and he had someone that had them, and they took money from him the night before. And so we went there and they wouldn't give him none, wouldn't give us none. So we took some pills from him.
Who had the gun?
He had the gun.
Okay. And how did your prints get there?
Because the gun was in the vehicle at first. And when I handed it to him, he had the gun because they took the money from him.
All right.
And my prints was there on the cup. It wasn't on the gun.
Right, I know where your fingerprints were. That's why I was asking you. But you did touch the gun also. So you knew that I mean, you was on drugs at times, strung out, but you knew that if the guy didn't give him his drugs, he was gonna steal. He was gonna get them.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I'm glad you were totally honest. I believe that story way better than the walking the dog and getting a glass of water story, I'm gonna tell you. Okay, you know, so you already admitted it. You had a drug problem, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in 2020, sir, he completed Steve Hoyle?
Yes, sir. I've done a 1-year treatment in Bossier Parish.
Mhm.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
can y'all provide any information on that? Tell me how he did and your recommendations, sir.
So he
Beat your name. My bad, I missed it.
Oh, that's okay. My name is Jason Johnson. I'm the program manager at the BAYOU DORCHEAT Steve Hoyle. We have 2 Steve Hoyles. They're the same program, just different locations. He completed Steve Hoyle at Bossier, the year program. There's no notes in his files about any problems or anything like that, just went through, totally normal. We've talked about addiction a little bit already, some of the options that are available, and obviously addiction's like a lifelong process. So, there are meetings that could be attended to, medications that could assist with that, should those be needed.
Okay. Mr. Ford, are you even considering the medications?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's a good thing, you know, can't do it on your own, get a little help. Okay. Let's see, you had a pretty rough supervision record. I imagine it's hard to be on parole supervision when you're still doing drugs, so.
Yeah, when I was using, yes, sir.
I see in your past, you also went to Teen Challenge.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your mother is deceased. Your sister is here to speak on your behalf today. We got statements back from the victims, and he said just what you said, to be honest with you. He said he looked like he was real high. And he's satisfied with whatever decision we make. He's not opposed or in favor. He just said whatever decision the board decides. Job, where are you going? You gonna stay working for Mr. Smith, or are you going back home?
I'm going to stay working for Mr. Smith.
That is a great idea.
Yes, sir.
What do you do for Mr. Smith?
I'm a welder.
Okay, about how much is he paying?
Right at the moment, I'm making $22.60 an hour.
Good, that's good pay. Good pay, okay. And you have a place to stay when you get out down there? They gonna help you locate something?
Yes, sir.
All right, Warden, or anybody at the facility want to make any comments?
No, I would just like to say that he lets y'all know that he's a welder. That's his job, what he's doing there with Mr. Smith. My husband is the instructor at the technical college.
I got it. Yeah.
My husband is the
Excellent.
one that trained him. I mean, worked with him and everything, and he has had nothing but praise for Mr. Ford. And he's excellent at what he does. And my husband, like I said, he's got nothing but good things to say about him. I have nothing but good things to say about him. He's done exceptional.
Great.
And
No write-ups here.
yeah, and he's had no write-ups here.
That's what I want to know that. Problem. Okay.
No.
All right,
If anybody's ever deserving of it, I feel like he is, for sure.
okay, thank you, ma'am. You know, I've never heard you talk that much, so
I know, but I mean, he did not ask me to speak or anything. I just found out about this morning,
Mhm.
and I needed to speak on his behalf.
Okay, thank you.
That's
Okay, good. And you did have some letters from some people very supportive of you. Mr. Smith, the guy that you're gonna work for, sent you a letter saying you would continue to have employment with him if you are released today. I have no further questions for Mr. Ford.
Ms. Stapleton.
Mr. Ford, you've heard everything Mr. Freeman had to say, and I think that was a wonderful interview for him and you, and then the people present in the room. I hope that you put your best foot forward for the rest of your life. You still have plenty. I mean, you're 41, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So drug addiction is a hard thing for people to get over. You've had some programming, you've had some help there. So, you know, I hope you do well for the rest of your life. You certainly have a good trade, and you do have a new beginning, and make of it what you will.
Yes, ma'am.
This time, I'd like to go to your sister, Jasmine Ford, who's joining us by Zoom. And Ms. Ford, would you like to make a statement to the board about Brian?
Yes, ma'am. Brian is amazing. Since he's been away, I got 3 kids total, and I'm just ready for him to meet his nieces.
All right.
Thanks.
So you're ready to see him back home. or back out?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, we appreciate those comments. I know it's not easy to appear and do these things, so thank you for your appearance today. Okay, Mr. Ford, I think that it's at this time, your turn to make a statement to the board, prior to us making decisions.
Well, I'd like to say if I'm granted this opportunity, I will value it. And the last 6 years of my life, I learned a lot. And I hate the choices that I made, but I can't change them. And the only thing I can do is look forward to doing better, you know? And that's my goal. And I really would appreciate this opportunity to prove myself.
Because Mr. Freeman started with our interviews, I'm going to go ahead and let him go first.
Okay. As Ms. Stapleton said, I've really enjoyed your interview today, Mr. Ford.
Yes, sir.
You know, you do realize you are a fourth offender.
Yes, sir.
Had all the best programs now that not only money can buy or the state has to offer you. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a total believer in Steve Hoyle. I think that if you paid attention like he said and you did what you're supposed to do and you took it to heart, it's gonna help you. This drinking is gonna be an ongoing problem. All I can tell you is from experience that if you have a problem, go to your probation officer before it leads to arrest.
Yes, sir.
Because once it gets to arrest, you're done, okay? So, my vote today, I'm gonna grant your supervision with, 3 AA meetings per week and, 9 PM to 6 AM curfew. And any recommendations that Steve Hall wants to add.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Stapleton.
I concur with Mr. Freeman.
Mr. Ford, you have 2 votes already, so my vote will not matter either way. But I just want to point out for the record, you took complete responsibility for previous behavior and decisions. You have completed a state-approved welding training program with a diploma. You have great letters of support. You have performed admirably in trench work program to the point that they will give you a job, and you have served over 85% of your sentence right now. You have no disciplinary write-ups while you've been incarcerated. For the reasons stated there, my vote is to grant. So today you have been granted, and we wish you well. You will be complying with Mr. Freeman's recommendations for substance abuse classes and curfew, and anything that Steve Hoyle or your probation officer chooses to place upon you for your success.
Yes, ma'am.
So congratulations, you've been granted.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Going to work.
Good morning again. We're ready to hear our second offender today. We are still at Bayou DORCHEAT Correctional Center, same staff in both locations. Sir, my name is Jerry Ledoux. I'm chairing today. To my left is Carolyn Stapleton. To my right is Pete Freeman. Could you please state your name and your DOC number for the record?
CHRISMON Robinson, and I don't remember my DOC number, ma'am.
If anybody in the room can confirm 765537.
That appears to be correct.
Okay. Sir, you are currently a second-class offender. You're serving a 5-year sentence for the crime of indecent behavior with juvenile. You came back to us as a failure to register and to serve your 5-year sentence. You have a parole eligibility date, February 4th, 2024. You're not eligible for good time. And you have a release date of 11/17/2025. Is that correct according to your understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to ask Ms. Well, I just want to make note, there is no one in opposition or support today in this case. Ms. Stapleton, if you'd like to begin the interview.
Yes, sir. I've got some questions I want to ask you. First of all, I want clarification on your classes. What classes have you taken?
I've taken anger management, empathy and awareness, and I'm currently taking risk management. I'm in just made it to phase 4.
Okay. What about the sex offender treatment classes?
I think that's the risk management class.
That's risk management?
Yes.
Okay, that's the same. Okay. So you finished those classes or you?
No, ma'am, I'll be finished with, I take my last test in risk management July 11th, and I graduate July 26th.
Okay, okay. That was something, that I was very interested in, obviously. You had a revocation. I'm going to read to you basically what it said. On January the 4th of 2022, you appeared at the 3rd Judicial Court in Lincoln Parish. You were sentenced to 5 years hard labor, which was suspended. You were placed on a 3-year probation for indecent behavior with a juvenile. While on probation, your conduct was very poor. You never reported to Monroe Probation and Parole, and you failed to register as a sex offender with the Sheriff's Office, Lincoln Parish Sheriff's Office. On February the 3rd, 2022, you were subsequently arrested by Lincoln Parish Sheriff's Office for failure to register. And on May the 3rd, 2022, you appeared back in the district court there for your probation violation hearing, which you admitted to the violation, and your probation was subsequently revoked. And the original sentence of 5-year hard labor was reimposed. Does that sound correct to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you not do the things you were supposed to do? Because look, you only were out 3 months and boom, you're back in.
See, when I was contacting, I didn't get in contact with my probation officer. I was talking to the probation supervisor, Mr. McFarland, and it was hard for me to register because I didn't have an address at the time. And when I finally got an address, I went to register, and that's when they arrested me.
Okay. Well, you should know that you have strong law enforcement opposition.
Yes, ma'am.
And you've answered my question about the sex offender classes, so I'm going to pass it along to Mr. Green.
I have no question.
Mr. Robinson, would you like to make a statement on your behalf?
Yes, ma'am. I just like to say that I know I made a mistake, and I'm paying for it. I'm doing what I'm supposed to get everything straightened out. And I know this caused stress and hurt on my family and me and the victim, and I'm truly sorry, and I just hope everything goes well.
For the record, your victim is opposed. This time, Ms. Stapleton, you began our question. Would you prepare that?
I am. At this time today, I'm gonna deny your request, and it's based upon law enforcement opposition and opposition.
Mr. Freeman?
My vote is to deny, but it's for you to complete that, sex offender treatment. We need to get that out the way before you reapply.
Yes, sir.
I believe that, Mr. Robinson, your success will be in having the completion of the sex offender class. You also have a moderate risk assessment at this point. So my vote today is to concur and deny. So your parole has been denied, Mr. Robinson.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The time is now 10:23, and sir, if y'all don't have anything further for the board today, then we're going to close out our hearing. Thank you very much.
Have a nice day.